much do you think Jacoby's past experiences, some of the situations he's been in, will help them navigate this situation that's kind of unique?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen it all camp. Jacoby's just really poised. He's really under control. He's coming pretty quickly and grasp the offense really well. So I think you'll see a lot of things you've seen throughout camp where, he's gonna be steady, not be up or down, no matter how we're playing on offense, and I think he'll do well for us.
I saw a stat that said you guys had the second youngest roster in the league. How much would you say that's by design?
I mean, I can't say it's by design, but it's kind of been consistent for us throughout the years that I've been here. It's just kind of how it's played out. I wouldn't say it's completely intentional.
Does it seem at all counterproductive when it feels like the roster is built to win now, that there's so many guys that are relatively inexperienced?
No, I think that's just a part of building teams. There's turnover every year. Oftentimes, the people you're replacing them with are younger individuals, and that's just a part of it. There'll be uncertainty. That's why we have to trust the process, and I believe that we're not focused on week one. We want to make sure we're hitting our stride, mid-season and towards that, and so we feel good about where we are.
When Kevin Stefanski was hired, you have a lot of quarterbacks, and they all are big.
Uh-huh.
For the most part, they're all athletic. They're a lot different than previous. When was that decision made to seek that out in your quarterback?
I wish it was intentional. I wish it was on purpose. I think it's kind of played out that way. Each situation was unique in terms of how they came available and the timing and when we signed them. I'd say Jacoby is not as athletic as some of the other guys, but yeah, I think Mond is, we just acquired him. He's athletic. And then obviously Josh, he's done a great job throughout camp. So I wouldn't say it's completely intentional though, in terms of philosophical change. It's just kind of how it's played out.
Glenn, can you explain a little bit about the philosophy of using, the 53, the space on the 53 for Kellen, and then the next day bringing in Josh, and just kind of how it is set up right now? What's sort of the thinking?
I mean, just keeping as many good players as we can. We were fond of Kellen from afar throughout the draft process, and have an opportunity to get a young player in who we still see some development runway for, and work with him and see what he can do for us and how he develops. And we like what Josh did in camp, and so we're glad to have him back too.
What's went into keeping only 2 tight ends?
Yeah, it's still fluid. That's kind of how it played out. I think AB would say you want to keep the best 53. And so we're still, I'd say it's not firm. The roster's going to change, throughout the season. So that's kind of where we are right now, but it's not.
Mond was drafted in the 3rd round. Was he on your draft board radar?
Yeah, I mean, he was on the draft board. Yeah, won't say specifically where he was, but we liked him. I think you'll see it. He's got a strong arm. He can make all the throws. He's an athletic young man. So we like the talent and what we saw of him at Texas A&M, and we're gonna just give him his opportunity to grow and develop here.
Back to the tight ends. When Kellen was hired, one of the first things he talked about was using a lot of tight ends and the fullback. And just the way things shook out, no fullback, only 2 active tight ends. Is there a shift in philosophy, or is it just how things just happen to?
Probably more the latter. I'd say it's just how we're constructed right now. Yeah, I would not look at the 53 as, and it won't be regardless. You'll have injuries, things will come up. So this won't be our final snapshot of who's on the roster. So it's kind of just where we are right now. Can you guys say your names too, just to help me? That's my bad.
Yeah. The receiving core has been something that a lot of people outside the building have talked about. Where do you feel like it is right now, and where do you feel like you still need work there in that room?
I kind of used the term earlier. We're young, they are unproven, but that's a part of it. We're trusting our process and what we saw in their abilities for each player when they came out. We're going to give them their opportunities to grow. These guys come along at different points in the season, different points in their career. So whoever steps up and is ready to go, I think we have faith in them, and Coach has faith in them. So we'll be good there.
It's one thing to have faith though in these young receivers,
Mm-hmm.
but when you're in the way the team seems to be built, it's like ready to win now. So how do you balance the win now with incorporating so many young players that are unproven at such a critical position within the offense?
Yeah, I think the way we balance it is just focus on the Panthers. That's the game we need to win right now. So, I think all those guys will be ready to contribute if we need them to.
Glenn, Ashley
Bastak from Cleveland.com. We talked to Chase earlier, but I guess when you have a guy like that who's new, whether it's a guy who traded for a free agent, a rookie who spends a lot of preseason injured, I guess how difficult does that make to evaluate them then?
I mean, Chase has a little bit of experience in the league, so we never want to overweight the preseason, overweight preseason games. We saw what he could do early in camp. We like where he is and what he'll do for the defense. But I think it's a part of just the process, right? Guys get hurt. You kind of have to trust the evaluation, trust what you saw when you did get an opportunity to see him, and go from there.
You talked about the receiving core being unproven for a large part. You also talked about hitting your stride later on in the season. Do you feel like this is a receiving core that could look differently, week 10, week 11 than it does maybe right now?
I think it can. We'll see. I think I watched another coach talk and speak about this, but you start to figure out who you are as, of course, the season goes on. Some of the things you do well, things you maybe don't do well, and I think coach will and the staff will adjust as we need to. So, I think we'll see. We'll see.
Hey, Scott Patrick, you guys haven't waived a draft pick in the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
How difficult is it when obviously you like the guys, that's why you picked them, but also not wanting to kind of bias yourself just because you picked them doesn't mean they're going to necessarily work out?
Yeah, we all face bias. I think that's just a part of being human. For us, it's really trusting what we see every day, but also giving them an opportunity to develop. That's what we believe in here. Give our guys time to develop, to hit their maturity, and then see who they are. So I wouldn't say that's the reason we kept every single player. They performed, and we think they earned it also. But you do want to give your players an opportunity to grow in your system, understand what you do, and go out and perform.
Is that especially true when you draft guys as young as you guys do? Anthony Schwartz isn't even 22 yet, right? Does that go into the equation that you like the guy?
Yeah, I think it's part of it, but you also just take it on a case-by-case basis. Every individual comes in at a different point, right? So, you need to craft it and curtail it to who they are and go from there.
Glenn, would you say, I have two quick questions. One is, do you know if Kwesi was planning on trying to put Kellen back on their practice squad? So I'll start with that one real quick.
I don't know.
So
Yeah.
you don't know, and that wasn't really an issue for you guys.
I wasn't going to call. We weren't going to call them and say, hey, this is what we're doing.
I wasn't sure if there's some kind of discussion that happens there, if there's professional courtesy or anything that goes on. And then the other thing is with Anthony Schwartz, what gives you guys the confidence that that he'll be able to bounce back, and what do you continue to see in him that says, hey, we got to stick with this guy?
I think Amari said it really well. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. It's just his work, I think all of us hit a point, in whether it's our career as players, where you just maybe have a few struggles. But he's not batting an eye. He comes out every day. He puts in extra work. You see him, catching a ton of balls, running routes. You've seen his progression. So I think the confidence that Amari has, who's in the room with him every day, and running routes and in the drills with him every day, we maintain the same level.
So I have one more question on Chase Winovich. What did you see from him in New England that made you want to make that trade?
Yeah, it was a combination of, his college work as well as in New England, but it's just his ability to rush the passer. You want to value that as highly as you can, and when you have an opportunity to acquire a player who can get after the quarterback, you do it.
Did you recognize him with all that hair?
He looks different. But
They signed Dobbs. What did you rely on? What scouting report? Because there's nothing from the Steelers days that was impressive. Did you, unless you went to preseason or what?
Yeah, I think it's, you use the college work as a foundation. He was productive in college, and honestly, I can't say we knew with the certainty that he would come in and perform with this way. But from the spring until now, he's taken a hold of the reins and really just gotten better every day. So credit to him, honestly, for coming in and doing so well.
What game has surprised you the most?
I wouldn't say surprised. I just think his ability to run the offense, number one. I think he's very sneaky in terms of an athlete, because I wouldn't say it's like twitchy or super fast, but he runs away from people. He controls the pocket with his athleticism, and then he's been really productive and consistent as a passer. So he's done well, and we're really happy with him.
Do you feel that? Do you guys feel really confident? I know everybody's excited about what Joshua was able to do throughout the offseason and preseason, but do you feel really good about going into the season with him as your number 2 and not a more experienced
Yeah, I think
guy?
coach said it pretty firmly for a reason. Yeah, he's our number 2, so we feel good.
You feel the electricity he brings, like diving for the pylon?
Yeah, and that's something you didn't necessarily get a chance to see. He's so smart and so quiet sometimes that passion doesn't show in our daily interaction, but that's definitely fun to watch.
Is there enough experience in D tackle? Jordan hadn't started really at all, and then Tommy didn't play much, and Perrin's a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan had a great offseason. I think Miles said it, really excited about where he's at, and hopefully what I spoke about earlier, just in terms of hitting the stride, in your 3rd and 4th year, hopefully he kind of makes that true for us, because he's done a really good job of getting ready to play a lot of ball this season. And like I said, the rest of the group, they'll come along. We feel good about where they are.
The rookies as a whole, it seemed like they were some of the best performers during the preseason. Obviously, they got a lot more opportunities in the games themselves, but you like exactly where they are, and where do you feel like they're maybe a step maybe further ahead than maybe even you thought they would be?
Yeah, you never know. You put faith in the process. I keep saying that, but really put faith in the work that you do from right now with our scouts out in the fall all the way through the spring. But to see it come to fruition sometimes sooner than later is good, but we haven't played a game yet. Like they've showed potential, but potential doesn't win you games. So we are excited about where they are, but we want to see it on Sundays too.
So the only other claim you put in was for a tight end, according to
Mm-hmm.
Was it frustrating that there weren't receivers worthy of putting claims in?
No. I mean, our group did a good job of just being prepared for whoever was available, and we target, we target what's in the market and what we think fits our team and who will help us win on Sundays. And after that, we just keep doing it. We'll keep doing it all year, every week.